It's on time. I know. Hello and welcome to this City Council special meeting happening today, Monday, June 24th, 2024. And I just want to let you know about public comment. Pursuant to the Brown Act, Section 54954, the public shall be provided an opportunity to speak only on items that are listed on this special meeting agenda. Pursuant to City Council Resolution 2011-22, City Council policy is limited to each speaker to 3 minutes. Such time allotment or portion thereof shall not be transferred to other speakers. And with that, could we have a report, Attorney Luna? Oh, sure. Let's do our roll call before we turn it over to her.
Mayor Burgell?
Here.
Councilmember Castellano?
Here.
Councilmember Moulton?
Here.
Councilmember Fernandez?
Here.
Councilmember Bauer is absent. Councilmember Contreras de Loge?
Here.
Great. And so now we'll move into reports and action items with City Attorney Luna.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. So at the last regularly scheduled council meeting, the item that's on the agenda tonight was taken up, and after some discussion from the council, it was the direction of council that staff rework the ballot question that was proposed last week and bring a new ballot question back for tonight at this special meeting. And that ballot question was put on a special agenda meeting on Thursday last week. It's in front of you tonight. We then received from Mr. Johnson, who is the attorney for the proponents of the measure, some additional comments on the ballot question as amended. And it is my recommendation tonight that we do make a couple of adjustments based on that feedback from Mr. Johnson in an effort, again, to work with proponents and ensure that there isn't litigation about the ballot question itself. And so, keeping in mind that the ballot question as proposed does appear a couple of times here in these resolutions, I would recommend in all of the versions that we delete above ground level and also delete subject to review for consistency with state law. And if we line out those two items, I believe that we address Mr. Johnson's concerns, and I would recommend that we move forward with that ballot question as amended tonight. And I'm here for questions.
Thank you. Do we have any questions from council? Councilmember Fernandez.
While I'm not challenging the above ground level deletion, I'm curious for the subject to review for consistency with state law.
My recommendation to line out that item is because I think that on balance, the threat of litigation over that versus the advantage of having in a sentence that frankly could go without saying, on balance, I would recommend taking it out.
I'm going to mull that over a moment. Thank you.
Councilmember Castellano.
I remember in last week's edition, there was the mention of housing and community development department. Has there been any consideration to include that language?
So that language, I do think, helped to clarify the reason for the addition of the sentence about consistency with state law, but it was taken out in favor of modifying the language above to allow for more clarity about the parking issue in the first part of the ballot question. So for space, we took that out. And I don't know that it could be added without changing other things. So it was taken out for space, and at this point I would take out the entire clause.
Thank you.
Any further questions? You ready for a moment? Okay. Seeing no one, we will open this item up to the public. Is there anyone here who would like to speak on this item? Please come up to the microphone. Okay. Do we have anyone on Zoom?
Is there anyone on Zoom that would like to? Yes, Solomon.
Solomon, would you care to speak?
Yeah. Hello.
Hi.
Can you hear me there?
We can.
I guess my video's not on, which is fine. Hey, I'm Solomon Iverta. I'm actually the main contact for the opposition to this ballot measure, and I'm just a little concerned about that the proponents of this measure were allowed to influence the information that will be put on the ballot for the voters, and I'm happy to contribute if we are taking contributions and we're trying to find a compromise to the most neutral language that's available. However, I have trust in the city attorney to offer something that is neutral, and appreciate that you all took this off the agenda, off the regular council meeting, so to have it discussed tonight, and to kind of sort through these issues. Just wanted to just to note that opposition is here and is aware of what's going on, and we would like there to be extremely neutral and not be favoring. And the rewrite, in my mind, seemed to be favoring the proponents more than the initial offering had been. But I'm no lawyer. So with that, I will, that's all I had to add.
Thank you, Solomon. And it looks like we have Brad Johnson.
Yes, good evening, and I'd like to express my appreciation to the council and to City Attorney Luna for recommending those two changes. Again, with those two changes that City Attorney Luna outlined at the beginning of the meeting here, the proponents would be amenable to the revised ballot statement, and we would not see a need to litigate over that question.
Thank you. Do you see anyone else on Zoom?
I see no one else on Zoom.
Okay, last ask for in chambers. Seeing none, we'll bring it back to council for comments and a motion. Councilmember Fernandez.
Just because it was put out there, it does beg the question that if the opposition did want to voice concern about this, at what point in the process? I guess I'm trying to figure out, did the proponents reach out to us first and initiate the conversation? Did the opponents to this measure not reach out? How did that process work?
Yeah, thank you for that question, Councilmember Fernandez. The only comments that we received ahead of the council meeting last week and this week were from Mr. Johnson. And now that I'm saying that out loud, that's not exactly accurate. We did also receive one today, I believe, in the afternoon from Miss Ring. That was, you know, I don't know what her stance is on the initiative, but she did propose some additional language. You know, what we receive ahead of time is what we can then propose to council, and so we didn't have, you know, a lengthy input from opponents. And so I'm responding to an attorney who is the proponent's attorney, who has suggested that if the language were not amended, that the city would face litigation. And keeping in mind that as the city attorney, it's one of my primary jobs to to advise you in a way that ensures that the city doesn't get sued. I have done that while still being faithful to a neutrality in the question. So that's why proponents have been involved in the process, is because they submitted lengthy comments ahead of time. Those were not requested by me in any way. That's the only contact that I've had with them, are those letters, and those are public documents that anybody can see.
Okay. Thank you.
Councilmember Contreras-Deloche.
I'm wondering, would you, so the last comment kind of, poses an interesting question, but I was thinking, I guess, I don't want to speak for you, Attorney Luna, so, but I'm kind of wondering if this was, it seems like us trying to address concerns was more addressing concerns, not, and for us kind of trying to seek neutral language, and not that we were trying to have guidance or help from anyone really on how to craft this. And really what we're trying to do is leave that for kind of those descriptors when people will be voting, but not the ballot language itself.
That's right. And thank you for that question, Councilmember Deloche. It's not as if we reached out to opponents and proponents to get ballot question language that would be pro and con, because that's not the job that we have in front of us. The job is to be neutral, and where questions are raised about the neutrality, then I think it is incumbent on us to take those seriously and to respond appropriately to those concerns. So yeah, I think you're exactly right.
And Councilmember Castellano.
Sure. As I voiced last week, I do have, continue to have some concerns around the space between neutrality and, lacking enough information to, to adequately educate, or share the actual context with voters. So I really appreciate everyone's time in, bringing this back forward so we could, make sure we're embarking upon that process. And so I think related to that, I'm a little curious. And, we've had opponent and proponent both speak here tonight, and I appreciate both people being present. I'm a little curious in terms of, when we have someone come forward, during public comment and basically, imply a potential lawsuit about a matter on the agenda, like what consequence would that have on this process? Because to me, right, like a lawsuit then would, involve a lot of city staff time, a lot of, of which, we don't have an infinite amount of, and, potentially delay the process and things like that. So I'm just kind of curious, like, what kind of effect that has on city staff.
Yeah, I'm happy to address that. I think that realistically, the outcome of a lawsuit over a ballot question would likely result in what we're doing right now happening. In other words, judges, in my experience, are good at finding the neutral path forward if there is one. And so, yeah, of course, it would take up a lot of staff time and city resources, and the outcome, to the extent that I can predict it, which of course I can't, might very well look quite a bit like the ballot question that I proposed, because I think that's what a judge would either encourage us to do on our own or order us to do after a battle.
Thank you.
Through the mayor, I would just remind the public too that one of the resolutions being adopted is a resolution directing the city attorney to prepare an impartial analysis of 500 words that will be included in the ballot or in the, the, what is it, the information, voter information pamphlet.
Thank you. So with that information, could we have a motion? Are there any further comments? Councilmember Moulton?
I can make the motion. I can move staff recommendation is what I can do. Thank you.
Second.
So we have a motion and a second. Any further comments? Please vote.
Councilmember Bauer absent. 4 yes votes. Motion carries.
Great. So with that, we have no further business. Thanks everybody for being here this evening for this very short meeting. We're adjourned.
Thanks, everyone.